Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Okay, got to get some announcements out of the way. I have decided to cancel the European tour. I know, I'm so sorry, guys, but I just don't think it's safe right now. So I want to make sure that this virus is not, going to be flaring up again. So be careful, stay safe, stay social distancing, wear your masks, wash your hands, do all those type of things. Hi guys. So yeah, I'm canceling. I've sent the refund out to everybody in the UK. So if you were signed up for that, you should be seeing your refund in about a week or so. And if you don't, please let me or Chris Piedmont know. So there that is. Okay. So, wow. Things to tell you. So be careful of the Hoovers. Before we dive into our topic of step parenting, I want to make sure that everybody understands that during this time of weirdness, a lot of Hoovers are happening from families, from romantic partners, ex-romantic partners. There's a lot of domestic violence happening, guys. We've just had another few shootings here in the Phoenix area. So if you hear anything that sounds like domestic violence, if somebody is screaming, call the police. Don't be afraid. Call the police. It's better to overreact than underreact, because there was a case that was just in Florida where the guy took advantage of the whole quarantine thing. Neighbors said they heard the screaming, but they didn't want to call because they didn't want to get involved or they didn't want to overreact. Well, the woman's dead. So please feel free to overreact. If you hear somebody screaming and it sounds like domestic violence, call the cops. Call the cops, call the cops, call the cops. Okay, there is that. There was a shooting in Utah. Oh, Santa Maria. Anyway, so yeah, and you got to realize, guys, the narcissists that are trapped in this quarantine with their target are running out of supply. We get boring to them. We're not exotic enough. We're not reacting enough. Maybe we're, distancing ourselves or gray rocking or whatever. And so they spin out of control and they keep upping and upping and upping and upping and upping. That's why I'm saying, if things are getting dangerous where you are, get the hell out. Get the hell out. Find a friend or somebody that will let you come live with them during this quarantine, because it's not worth staying with an abuser. No amount of money is worth staying with an abuser. No amount of supposed security is will leave me later. They want us dead. Okay, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Okay, hopefully that reconnected. All right. Yeah, the internet. Gotta love it. Anyway, they want us dead. And when I say that, I mean that both literally, they want us dead, and spiritually, they want us dead. So they're soul killers. And if they cannot get their needs met, they will keep upping and upping and upping and upping and upping and upping, and eventually they'll kill us. So yeah, they're dangerous. They're abso-freaking-lutely dangerous. If you are in a situation where you need to get the hell out, John, can you put up the National Domestic Violence Hotline? That would be very helpful. So yeah, and shelters are full. I know things are crazy. That's why I'm saying, if you have friends or family that you trust, that you can live with, if you're in a domestic violence situation, get the hell out, get the hell out, get the hell out. It's not worth staying. If they are verbally aggressive to you, if they are calling you names, if they are, getting very aggressive verbally, get out. They're starting to up the ante. Okay. So, and this is what they do. This is what I see them do. They start off with calling names because they're frustrated because they're not getting their needs met and they're being called on their shit. And then it starts upping to physical violence. And then once it gets to physical violence, all bets are off. So yeah, get out. If they are physically pushing you, shoving you, yelling at you, screaming at you, calling you names, get the hell out, get the hell out, get the hell out. Call the police, get out. Oh, it just drives me crazy because I'm seeing all of this stuff happen right now, here and now, like huge. So anyway, all right. So I wanted to talk about step parenting today. So the question I had was, how do you help a child who's in the middle of a custody issue, step parenting issue? What do you do? How do you help them? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to cover some step parenting do's and don'ts. So, because here's the thing, step parenting is hard. It is. And not every single step parent is, an abuser. A lot of them are, though. So I want to cover some step parenting do's and don'ts. There are some really good step parents out there. So some of the mistakes that people make. So don't come on too strong. So what I've seen a lot of step parents do is that they try too hard to be their friend, try too hard to be the parent, which you're not the parent. If you're a stepmom or a stepdad, you're not the parent. You're going to be co-parenting or parallel parenting with maybe a possibly crazy ex, and you're needing to abide by what has already been established in that family rule. Okay. You want to make sure to never badmouth anybody, because remember, that mom or that dad is half that kid. Okay. And kids are not stupid. So if you're bad mouthing the parent, then they're going to go, oh, you don't love me either. So, and I'm going to get to what to do when you have an abusive step parent. So hang on. Do try to get on the same parenting page with your new spouse and his or her ex. So they're going to have a whole bunch of already established parenting things that they were doing. And the last thing you want to do as a step parent is march in there and be like, I know best, even though you might, but you don't want to march in there and, antagonize, because then what you're doing, especially if the ex is disordered, you're setting up a drama triangle. Remember, the drama triangle always needs a victim, a hero, and a villain. Guess who you're going to be? It's not going to be the victim or the hero. You're going to be the villain. So don't do it, Frenchie. It's not a good idea. Okay, so get on the same page. Figure out, what the rules are for the kids. Do encourage your stepchild to have one-on-one time with both of his or her parents, if they're not abusive. If they're not abusive. That's a caveat. Never badmouth. Do have family weekly meetings. I can't tell you the number of times I tell families this, whether they're a step parent issue or not. Weekly family meetings allow all the kids and the parents to clear the air. You talk about what's going on in the family, what needs to change, what do you want, what do you want? You want to establish good, clean, open, clear, transparent communication between child and parent, child and step parent, okay? So that everybody feels heard. It's no different than when I teach people to do reflective listening in relationships. You want to do reflective listening with the kids too. So let's say a kid says, I don't understand, how come I have to stay inside during this quarantine? I'm bored, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I hear you, honey. What I'm hearing is you're really frustrated. Is that what you're feeling? Stick to the feelings, guys. Stick to the feelings. And yes, I'm frustrated. Okay, well, we're stuck here because I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get this virus. I don't want you to have pneumonia. I don't want you to drown in your own mucus. So, that's kind of that. So, so you talk to them, you listen to them, you reflect back to them. They're people. They like to be heard. Children love to be heard. One of the main things I hear abusers say, and this just pisses me right the fuck off every time I hear one of them say it, children are to be seen and not heard. That was my father's favorite line. And I'm just kind of like, fuck you, asshole. Children are humans. Children need to be heard just like adults do. So you want to establish weekly meetings to kind of, hey, check in. You take in the family's temperature. How are things going? How are you feeling? What do you need? What are the emotions going on? What's happening? That type of thing. So you do weekly meetings. Don't set your expectations too high. So this is really important because you're not the parent, okay? And the kids are going to have issues from the divorce, and especially if the ex is disordered in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be a fucking nightmare because you're having to undo all of the craziness. So remember how I talked about with co-parenting, right? So you divorce your ex is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, ex marries somebody else cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You marry somebody sane, the kids come back from that crazy situation. You have to undo that 25225, that 50-50, undo the behaviors because they're safe with you. So they're going to act out. So if the ex is got a step parent that's disordered as well, there's going to be a lot of dysfunction going on over in that household. And then when the kid comes back to you, the kid feels safe with you. So guess who they're going to act out with? Not the cuckoo ones. They're going to act out with the sane ones because the sane ones are safe. So what they're going to do is they're going to come back over from cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs land, and they're going to come into your house and they're going to go, "Whoa," and lose their minds. So you have to expect that. Things are not going to be perfect. You're going to have to learn how to let them decompress from having been in an abusive household. And then you're going to have to help them process, not call names on the other part, and help them understand, wow, isn't that interesting that you feel safe with me acting out, but you don't feel safe with them, and you just get them thinking. That's what you do. You get them thinking. Okay. You don't make accusations, but you get them thinking. Okay. Don't overstep your bounds. A big mistake that many make is overstepping disciplinary bounds in children. This is where the abusers really come into play. So what I have seen with abusive step parents is that they use quote unquote discipline as an excuse to punish. And I mean, not just punish like, oh, you did something wrong, I need to correct you. I mean, punish sadistically. They enjoy hitting, they enjoy yelling, they enjoy hurting. And so they use that as the excuse to discipline the child. So this is why it is really important when you are divorcing somebody who is disordered or divorcing in general, and there are children involved, you make sure that it is clear that whoever comes into the relationships absolutely has no business doing corporal punishment. Now, this is going to be a problem in some states because I think Florida is one that says, oh, corporal punishment is okay and it's not considered abuse. This is where I have brain aneurysms. It's like, really, guys, have you read the research on corporal punishment? Hello, morons. It harms the child. Okay, there is never an excuse to hit anybody, a dog, a cat, a human. No excuse unless you're in like, self-defense. Then you can hit people. But it's like, no, you don't hit a child. That doesn't teach them anything other than might makes right, and violence solves everything. No, it doesn't. It really, look at what's happening in all the domestic violence cases. It's all might makes right, and violence solves their problems because they're just getting rid of their problems by killing them. So no, you don't do that. So what you want to do is when you're divorcing, you make crystal clear, either in the court documents or in whatever parenting agreement that you have, that whoever they get involved with has absolutely no right to do corporal punishment. You make that crystal clear. And I'm going to talk about how to assess whether that is a threat or not. Okay. Be ready to hear, you're not my real mom, you're not my real dad. That's going to happen. If you're a good step parent, yeah, they're going to get mad when you draw boundaries, because if the other parents over here, the crazy ones, don't have boundaries, and then they come back to your house and you got boundaries, you're not the boss of me, you're not my mom, you're not my dad, blah, blah, blah. And that's when your partner, who's the bio parent of these kids, needs to step in and go, oh, no, au contraire. These are my rules. You got a problem with it, you take it to me. Do you see where I'm going with that? You just cut that off at the bud. Okay, do plan activities with your stepchild. So something that I've seen disordered step parents do is they favor their own children. They favor their own children and they treat the stepkids as if they are pariahs and, how dare they exist, because it's a reminder of that this person was involved with somebody else. It's not the kid's fault, but, somebody who's disordered is incredibly insecure and incredibly jealous and wants to control, and so therefore wants to get rid of, stepkids. So they will favor their own children. They will attempt, in some cases, when they're really abusive, they will attempt to replace the original family with a new family. And that's exactly what happened in my family. My dad did that. He had an original family with my sister, Nancy, and my brother, and they got replaced. Absolutely. He got involved with my mom and started having kids with her, and suddenly Nancy and my brother didn't exist. What the fuck? And that's very confusing for a child. That's very confusing for a child, because the child is like, wait a minute, you guys did this horrific court battle over us and demanded that we come visit you every other week, and now you've got a new family and you could give two flying rats asses. So kids coming out of, divorces are going to be very confused. They just are, because narcissists, borderlines, and I'm talking malignant people, I'm not talking the lower end of the spectrum, I'm talking full-blown malignant, are cray-cray. They are cray-cray to the point where they will fight over every last pencil in the pencil jar, and they will demand more than 50% custody. But then when they get enamored of a new supply, suddenly they don't care anymore, and they start giving up their their custody, which you need to document the hell out of that. Okay, so plan activities with your kids. Include all of the kids. Include them in grocery shopping. Include them in walks in the park. Include them in not grocery shopping now. Obviously, we're in a lockdown. We're in quarantine, but when things are not so dangerous, include them in the everyday activities as if they were normal human beings, because they are. I can't tell you how annoyed I get at people who act like children are stupid. Children are not stupid. That little pitchers have big ears. Little pitchers have big ears. Little pitchers have big ears. They hear everything, and they're not stupid. They process stuff. But remember, to a narcissist, to an abuser, children have no more function than this cup. Seriously. And they think that they can talk about them in front of them and that the kid is not going to understand. Bullshit. I'm sorry. Kids hear and they understand a hell of a lot more than we give them credit for. So you need to start acting as if your little one is actually present. Of course, then if you're disordered, you're not going to anyway. But anyway, the point being is that you include them. They are just little humans. That's all they are. Don't take it personally. So when a kid is having a meltdown and they've just come back from the crazy parent, they're not going to be doing well. They're not. And, don't take it personally. Even if they're like, you're mean, you have boundaries, I don't like it. Dad lets me stay up, or mom lets me stay up, or stepmom or stepdad lets me stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning. And how dare you have boundary, blah, 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 blah. They're acting out with you because you're the safer target. So remember that. So, okay, let's talk about how to help a kid if there is a step parent involved and there appears to be abuse going on. You're probably going to have to go back to court. Here's the other thing. You're probably going to have to call CPS or DCS. It's now called DCS, Department of Children's Services. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still pig. Anyway, the point being is, and the reason they changed the name is because there were so many deaths under CPS. Don't get me started. Things that make me go, what the actual fuck? Anyway, so how to assess a threat. So kids are very quick on the uptake, and they can learn very quickly to manipulate, especially if they've got role models, mom, dad, step parents, whatever, that are manipulative. So they may start doing the whole, if I play mom against dad and mom against stepmom, or mom against stepdad, or, whatever, I can get my way. So you got to be very careful of that. You've got to do a lot of assessing. If there is verbal abuse going on, if they are calling the child names, if they are raging at the kid, if they are keeping the kid up, not allowing them to sleep, if they are not feeding them, if they are excluding them from family activities, if they, obviously like a one up kind of thing, like our family is here and you're not really part of the family, that's abuse, guys. That is abuse. So good communication with your little one is imperative. What's going on? Are you okay? Now, here's something else that disordered people do is they have a tendency to tell the kids, don't you dare tell your mom or dad or whatever what we're doing over here. You'll get in trouble. So, and kids are not stupid. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get in trouble. Nobody wants to be in trouble. So you've got to kind of assess. And here's something to think about too. My neck. Oh, Jesus God. When you are doing a divorce, you want to make sure that you put in there that the kids are allowed to go to therapy and that you get to approve of whoever the therapist is. You get to approve or not approve. And of course, unfortunately, the other side is probably going to say the same thing. But at least you have a better shot of getting the kids into therapy and B, getting a better therapist. Like if you get a therapist and you're just like, this person's a whack, which a lot of them are, unfortunately, then you get the chance to say, nope, we need a different therapist. This is not working out. The kids don't feel comfortable. The kids don't feel safe, blah, 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 whatever. So there that is. Okay, so with the kids, so you got to assess the threat. Are they being hit? Are they being corporal punished? And has this been addressed in your divorce decree or your parenting plan? You may need to take them back to court. I hate to say it, but you may need to. Step parents who are disordered want control. Okay, they're no different than any other abuser. They're just title of step parent. And remember, they're disordered. They're jealous. They're insecure. They're, if they're narcissistic, they're entitled. They're, fill in the blank. And they see your child as a threat to their authority and to their security with the spouse. So, and if the spouse is avoidant personality disorder, if they are or have not worked on their own issues, and in comes a step parent that is another narcissist or is a narcissist or whatever, the narcissist is going to insist that that parent get rid of their kids. Like I said, second family. It's like, get rid of them. Don't even, you treat them less than. No, they don't get to come over. No, they don't get this. No, they don't get that. So it really is, when you see that happening, you're dealing with a narcissist. You absolutely, if a step parent or a person who's a potential step parent demands that you get rid of your children and that you don't have them around and that you don't talk to them or you replace them, you're dealing with a narcissist. You absolutely are. You are dealing with an abuser. Absolutely. So you got to assess the threat. You've got to talk about discipline issues, and it's got to be crystal clear. And it needs to be made crystal clear to the step parent. It's like, you will not touch my child, period. And that's why I'm saying you probably want to get this into your divorce decree. So, all right, family and individual therapy. I don't recommend therapy with an abuser. I don't ever. So if you suspect the step parent of being an abuser, that's not going to work. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get the kids into therapy so they have a safe place to vent, and you have another set of eyes on it. So, for example, I've had several cases where the kids were in therapy. There was another therapist involved. Abuse was happening. Boom, documented, sent to DCS. DCS started investigating. Boom, the abuse stops. So yeah, this is why it's important to have a therapist there as a third party to go, oh, nope, this is abuse. Nope, not putting up with this. Nope, DCS needs to be involved. Let me send them my notes. Let me do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this is also why abusers try to prevent children from having therapists. This is also why abusers try to prevent children from having a safe outlet to talk, because they don't want the abuse to come to light. And of course, if the step parent is the abuser and the other parent is not, kind of like a flying monkey kind of thing, they'll try to convince the bio mom or the bio dad to stop therapy because they don't want their dirty deeds to come to light. So be very suspicious of anybody that does not want your children to be in therapy if there's a divorce going on. Okay, consult with a family attorney. Yep, you've got to probably take them back to court is the sad thing. And the thing I forgot to say, which I meant to say beginning of this thing, if you are outside of Arizona, I cannot counsel you. I cannot. But Susana Quintana at SusanaQuintana.com, she can. She's not a counselor, but she is a narcissistic survivor expert. She's a life coach. She's amazing. I love her. She's your girl. So she and Sarah Picaro at write-your-life.com. Both of them can go across state lines. Both of them can do Skype and phone calls. So those are your chicks if you need help. And I think that's important because Susana both of them actually have gone through divorces, and they have kids, and they've had to deal with the step parent issue or my dryer's going off. Sorry, that's what that buzzing is. The step parenting issue or the discipline issue or the, whatever else is going on issue with the kids. And yeah, the kids need a safe outlet. So that's why it's so important that when they come back to you and they start acting out, don't take it personally. In reality, you should be thrilled that they feel safe enough to go, bonkers to try to get back to normal with you. So, but it's really important to give them tools for how to deal with it. So there are some anxiety workbooks that are great for kids. There's the DBT workbook for the older ones, mindfulness, journaling, meditation, yoga, all sorts of things that you can teach your child to help cope with the stress of having to deal with crazy stepmom, crazy stepdad, and ineffectual parent that's unwilling to stand up to them. So that's often what I see is that a stepdad or a stepmom comes into the picture. Other person is over here on this side, and the person, the bio mom or the bio dad, is ineffectual. They're unwilling to stand up to the abuser and say, no, these are my kids. No, I'm not replacing them with your child. Like literally, like the abuser will come in with their own child from a previous marriage and demand that the new person give up their kids and supplant the new child. How crazy is that? That is cray cray. And anybody who does that is an abuser, hands down. So, so you got to give your kids tools for how to cope with the stress. Now, journaling is great, but I would err on the side of caution with this, because if you're journaling over there with cray cray, they're going to read it. So don't have them journal when they're there. Keep the journal at your house. And as soon as they get home, have them start journaling. Everything. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What do you need to talk about? What is going on in your head? What angered you? What made you sad? What made you happy? Just get them in the habit of journaling as soon as they get home. And hopefully some of that acting out behavior will lessen, because now they've got an outlet for it. And they're able to go this, and this. And then you let them know if there is anything you want to talk about or you need to talk about, please let's sit down and have a family meeting and talk about it. You also want to establish with them before they go over to the new stepmom, stepdad, you have a right, son or daughter, to say whatever you need to me. No secrets. Okay. So they might say things like, don't tell your mom, don't tell your dad. That is your cue. You need to tell me, because don't be afraid. I am your protector. I am going to look out for you. I need to decide whether this is a threat or not. So, don't worry about it. So with the older ones, that works pretty good. With the younger ones, that's a little more difficult, because younger ones, they just want to be loved. They do. They just want to be loved, and they want to be okay, and they want everybody else to be okay. And they're very susceptible to threats, unfortunately. Typical abuse line is, if you tell your mom, I'll hurt you, or I'll kill your dog, or I'll kill your cat, or I'll hurt your dad, or that'll make your dad so sad. That'll make your mom so sad. And it'll be all your fault that they're sad. They're manipulative pieces of shit. So yeah, you've got to try to think of all of the ways that you were manipulated in an abusive relationship. And if this step parent is disordered as well, the ways that they're going to try to manipulate your son or daughter, and to kind of give them the tools. Gray rocking is a great one. So when stepmom or stepdad goes off and starts screaming and raging and you don't defend yourself. You just gray rock. And then as soon as you get home, you write it all down and then tell me what happened. So anyway, that is the thing. So there are a lot of good step parents out there. I just want to make that very, very clear. A lot of good step parents, step into a very uncomfortable role of, I'm not really the parent, but I'm kind of an authority figure, but I'm not. So, but the ones who succeed are the ones who are collaborative with the bio parents, both bio parents, and honor whatever rules are in place, and do not try to be the child's friend. Okay, they can be an ally, and that's great, and they can encourage the child to express themselves and things like that. So there are good step parents out there that have done the right thing, but there are a lot of step parents out there that are abusers, that use the opportunity of, you're my child now, I'm going to replace the mom, I'm going to replace the dad. Those words have actually come out of their mouths. It's like, I don't like them, therefore you need to call me mom. Nope. That's something that needs to be talked about in custody agreements. It's like, nope, nobody gets called mom except me. I'm the mom, or nobody gets called dad except dad. He's the dad. You can come up with different names, you can call them Carol, you can call them by their first name, you can call them whatever, you call them by a different name other than mom or dad. But I have seen a lot of the disordered step parents step in and be like, I am the mom, I am the dad, stop calling your mom mom, you need to call me mom. That's crazy. And that needs to be talked about in whatever parenting agreement you have. Because if you don't think about these things, so think about it. This is the thing that is so heartbreaking. When we are going through a divorce, okay, our brains are just going in 100,000 different directions, because we're dealing with cray-cray, and we're dealing with the constant barrage of, 14-page emails daily, telling you what a piece of crap you are and what a horrible parent you are. And then one little line about the kids. And then we have to plow through all that shit and find the one little line about the kids and only respond to that. It's exhausting. It is exhausting, because crazy people are exhausting. Disordered narcissists, abusers are exhausting, because you're constantly having to fight against that desire to defend yourself, and you're constantly having to figure out what is best for your kid, and you're constantly having to figure out, if they're trying to screw you over in the divorce, which usually they are, that type of thing, which is why I'm saying SusannaQuintana.com. She can help with all of that. And Sarah Picaro at rewriteyourlife.com. Both of these ladies have been there, done that, can help you plow through all of that baggage. But when we're going through the divorce, it's really hard to think clearly, and it's really hard to think of what you need to think. Now, one of my clients recommended a great book, and I'm getting it in the mail sometime this week. It's called Splitting: How to Divorce Someone with Malignant Borderline Personality Disorder or Malignant Narcissism. And it's by Randy Krieger, who wrote Stop Walking on Eggshells, both the book and the workbook. Fabulous. So I'm going to be reading it. My client is just like, oh my God, this is a game changer. This is a game changer. I know how to behave now. I know what to think about. I know what things I need to ask for. So it's a great book. It's called Splitting. It's about divorcing a narcissist or a borderline, and what the things to watch for, what to look out for, behaviors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, things you need to ask for. Super, super important. Holy cow. All right. Here we go. Talking about questions. So again, Sarah Picaro, rewriteyourlife.com. It's re-write-your-life at, rewriteyourlife.com. That's it. Rewriteyourlife.com. Or Susanna Quintana. It's Susanna Quintana, all one word, which I'm sure they've put up in the things, .com. So they've been there, they've done that, and they're amazing. And Susanna is really good at, her specialty is helping you ignore the 14 pages of bullshit and just get to the thing that you need to answer, that kind of thing. That's really important. Whew. Okay, so you give your child tools. That's the most important thing. You help with their anxiety. You teach them to journal, but you keep the journal at home. You teach them breathing. You teach them meditation. You teach them yoga. You give them tools. You teach them gray rock so that they're not always in trouble, because that's what the abuser is going to look for. They're going to try to get them in trouble all the time. Okay, so can you speak on EMDR? Is it good for CPTSD? Can it be dangerous? Well, here's the thing. EMDR is eye movement rapid desensitization. I just got that backwards. Anyway, basically what it is the eyes are moving back and forth. You can do it through Skype if you have like a little thing on each side and you just move your eyes back and forth and your person is guiding you through it. So yeah, you can do that on Skype. Is it dangerous? Well, only if the practitioner doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, like anything, So if they do not have a 2-year minimum certificate, I've been practicing for, this is the certificate I got. It was a 2-year program, blah, 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 blah. You do not want to go to an EMDR person that has done it for a weekend. You just don't, because that's not long enough to, figure out how to do that. Is EMDR good for kids? Yeah, it can be. If a kid has gone through a great deal of trauma, it's a great way to help them process. So, yeah, EMDR is great for trauma. It really is. Can it be dangerous? Only if it's in the hands of people that do not know what they're doing. So like with anything, you want to check out your therapist 10 ways to Sunday. What are their credentials? Do they have any complaints against the board? Is there a history of complaints against the board? That type of thing. So find one that has a 2-year degree, that they've been doing it solidly, really good, schooling in EMDR. The thing you want to watch for with EMDR is that a lot of people tend to regress back to an earlier state. So what I have seen is that if the therapist was not careful and didn't bring them back to the present and talk it through whatever was coming up, they can kind of regress back to that age where things had happened kind of thing and find themselves acting out. And so it's important that if you do EMDR, you tell your EMDR therapist everything that's going on. If you feel like you're regressing, let them know. If you feel like you're like at an earlier age, let them know. If you feel like you're acting out in dangerous ways, let them know. Because it can stir up a lot of stuff, and it needs to be handled professionally. It needs to be handled, diligently by somebody who has been doing this for a while and has really good training in EMDR techniques. So yeah, I think it's a great one. The other one is EFT, emotional freedom therapy, the tapping for trauma. I think it's great. I've had several clients that had a lot of success with both EMDR and emotional freedom therapy, EFT. So yeah. Okay. What about when a step parent specifically says they are not trying to replace the parent, but then their actions say opposite? Well, actions speak louder than words. Of course, they're trying to replace the parent. So, when that happens, you have to have a chat with the other bio parent and you need to let them know, no, I'm not getting replaced. Their actions are saying opposite. And if we need to, we'll go back to court over this. So yeah, you're going to have to, this is the thing. Abusers count on us to stay silent. They count on us to be too afraid to rock the boat. They count on us to be avoidant, because we have been in the past, because when we rocked the boat or we, spoke up, we got punished. But we're no longer in that relationship anymore. And hopefully we are working on our own self-esteem, our own agency, our own boundaries, our own deal breakers, our own voice, and we have to be the voice, the agency, the boundary, the deal breakers for our kids as well, because they may not have that sense of self-esteem yet, especially if they were also raised by somebody who is disordered. And especially if that step parent is trying to replace you. So yeah, you need to speak up. You absolutely do. Actions speak louder than words, guys. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I tell people this. Actions speak way louder than words. If you want to know who a person is, watch their actions. Don't listen to their words, watch their actions. And if the actions and the words don't match, they are probably disordered, or they are an abuser, or they're a pathological liar, or they're manipulative, or fill in the blank. So yeah, so actions and words must match. Absolutely. Okay, hope that answered that question. So trust your gut. If their actions are doing the opposite, you're going to have a serious come to Jesus meeting with the other bio parent. And if you have to go back to court, absolutely, because that's not okay. If they're trying to replace you, if they're trying to usurp power, if they're trying to, manipulate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of times, like I said, these step parents are disordered themselves. And so if we come from an abusive background and the step parent is acting just like a parent that we had, we're going to be kicked back into inner child stuff. And the inner child is the one that's terrified to stand up for themselves. The inner child is the one that's like, oh, nope, don't say anything. No, not safe, not safe. So you're going to have to really work on the inner child with your therapist and get that inner child to be safe and have a voice and stand up for your actual child. So yeah, actions speak louder than words. Trust your gut. Okay, my narcissistic mom also raised 3 of my half siblings. She would share with me that she screwed up with them when she and my dad first married. Was that a way to enmesh me? Oh God, yeah. So here's the deal. You didn't need to know that. You didn't need to know that. So what narcissists do, parents, step parents, whatever, they overshare. They over-involve the kids. They turn the kids into priests, confession, and they turn the kids into their own personal therapists. Sounds to me like she's looking for, absolution. I absolve you. It's like that kind of thing. And that's not your job. That is not your job. So they encourage codependency like nobody's business. Hang on. So disordered parents encourage codependency enmeshment like nobody's business. It's like when a parent or a step parent tells the kid too much about the relationship going on, or tells the kid too much about the other parent that they don't really know, or tells the kid too much about adult concerns that they have, like financial. I've seen that a lot, especially lately, where the abusive parent, tells the kid, we may not have a roof over our head. The kid doesn't need to know that, guys, until it's a reality. The kid does not need to know that, because what can the kid do about it? Goose egg. So why the fuck would you put that burden on that child? So when adult abusers put adult issues onto a child, that's abuse. That's forcing them to be enmeshed. That's forcing them to take responsibility for whatever is going on, okay? And that's codependency, and that is abuse. So yeah, that is a way to make you responsible in some way, shape, or form for the way she raised the kids. It's either you're acting as the priest, absolution, or you're the therapist. Oh, gee, mom, it was okay. No, it wasn't. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, that's not healthy. Hi, Chris. How do I deal with feeling hopeless all the time? Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so I'm really glad you brought that up. So with this whole pandemic thing, okay, this is reactivating everybody's PTSD, CPTSD, like nobody's fucking business. So I just wanted to validate everybody out there. If you have survived abuse, if you've got PTSD, CPTSD, this whole pandemic thing is going to be stirring shit up like nobody's fucking business. You're going to be feeling hopeless. You're going to be feeling helpless. You're going to be feeling sad. You're going to be feeling abused. You're going to be feeling scared. You're going to be feeling, you name it, you're going to be feeling it. Why? And I've said it before, because the COVID-19 acts like a fucking abuser, blows into town, messes everybody's lives up, and doesn't care. It's like, it's only there for itself, and that's it. It really is kind of narcissistic when you think about it. So that stirs up all the feelings of helplessness. And we already have feelings of helplessness and hopelessness from the abuse that we went through anyway. So feeling hopeless all the time, it's exacerbated now because of the current world situation, okay? And everything you're feeling is normal. I want to validate that. Everything you are feeling is 100% normal. The other thing I wanted to address too, and yes, I'm going to answer your question, and I'm kind of getting all this other stuff in because I think it's really important. Somebody had, one of my listeners had texted me a blog that they did on going through this trauma, going through this COVID stuff, and feeling oddly calm, and having people be mad at them for not being angry and scared and upset and everything else. So there's one of two reactions that we have to trauma. We either get scared and angry and sad and everything else, or we get this really odd calm. And it's kind of because we were raised in chaos, and this is normal for us. So it's kind of like it's a Tuesday. Who cares? It's normal to us because we were raised in chaos. So for example, a friend of mine just got furious with me because I would not get as upset as he was. And I was like, well, there's nothing I can do. It's kind of like the Buddhist worry chart. Is there a problem? Fuck yeah, there is. Is there anything we can do about it? Well, limited. I can do what I can do. Okay, well, then let it go. And he was just like, why aren't you angry? Why aren't you? I said, you should be terrified. You should be. He was shooting all over me. And I was like, dude, I was raised with insanity for 18 years of my life. Well, 17, until I got the fuck out of there. So this ain't no big thing. Seriously, it ain't no big thing. Threat of death? Yeah, been there, done that. Hello. It's like, so it's like, yeah, we get this strange calm, or we freak the fuck out, one of the two. And so either reaction is normal to stress, normal to threat, normal to chaos, because of the way we were raised. Does that make sense? So how do you deal with feelings of hopelessness all the time? So it's a matter of taking your power back baby steps at a time. It's not going to be like, clouds part and the sun shines through and, angels sing and, that's not going to happen. It's going to be baby steps, taking your power back, meaning you're going to do mirror work. You're going to remind yourself that you don't need to feel hopeless, that there are other people out there. You're not alone. Absolutely. You're going to do the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Love that book. The other one I love is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Get those two books, start reading them or listening to them. I think the Glenn Schiraldi one is only on workbook, but the Badass book, I think, might be on Audible. Anyway, the point being is that you start taking your power back a little bit at a time. It's not hopeless, hon. As long as there is breath in the body, there is hope, okay? And you just take baby steps. Journaling, writing and burning letters to our abusers. Oh my God, is that empowering? And it's so funny because my clients all crack up. It's like when we get to that point where I'm like, okay, you're pissed at them. They've done this, and this. It's time to write them a go fuck you letter. And then they're like, oh, what? And I'm like, okay, what was their name? Oh, it was Harold. Dear Harold, fuck the fuckity fuck out of fucking fuck you, asshole. You did this, and this. You are not the boss of me anymore. You have no control over me anymore. I am evicting you from my head. You don't get to live here rent free anymore. Fuck you. Goodbye. Boom. Trot it out to the barbecue. Read it out loud once. Your neighbors will think you're nuts. That's okay. And then burn it. Let it the fuck go. So it's taking back power a little bit at a time. little bit at a time, little bit at a time. And writing out your deal breakers. What will you not put up with anymore? Okay. What will you not put up with? Write it out. And if anybody violates those deal breakers, they are not your tribe. Fuck them. Get them out of your life. Now is a great time to get rid of flying monkeys. Now is a great time to get rid of abusers. Now is a great time to declare your Declaration of Independence. Write yourself a love letter. Dear me, I deserve to be treated with respect. Goddamn right I do. Do you see where I'm going with that? So that's how you start working on those feelings of hopelessness. When we are in an abusive relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship or whether it is a familial relationship, we get the message loud and clear that we don't count. We get the message loud and clear. Children should be seen and not heard. Fuck that bullshit. We get the message loud and clear that it's not okay for us to like ourselves or to have agency, to be independent, to have our own thoughts, to, whatever. And so this is the time to start writing yourself a letter to remind yourself it is goddamn okay for me to think what I want and to love myself and to have my own agency and to be independent and to like chocolate ice cream or whatever else the abuser didn't like. So does that make sense? So you take your power back a little bit at a time. And the hopelessness is common with us survivors. It is, because it's the state we were living in for so many years. And if we're still in that environment, it's not impossible. It will be difficult, but you still can start taking your power back a little bit at a time. So detachment, recognizing you are you, they are them. You don't have to be them. You don't have to like the same things that they like. You don't need to engage in the dysfunctional, crazy behavior, that kind of thing. And you just start slowly working on self-esteem and slowly start working on your own independence, your own agency. What do you like? What do you not like? How do you want to be different from your abusers? How are you going to get there? What's your plan? How can you get out? Make an escape plan. Now's the perfect time to do it. If you are in an environment that is dangerous, if they are actively screaming at you, yelling at you, verbally abusive, hitting you, etc., get out. Get out. So it's feeling hopeless is based in feeling powerless, and abusers are adept at making us feel powerless. So we've got to start taking our power back a little at a time. And part of the way to do that is when you do mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to take your power back. I know it feels weird because then immediately that internal critic is going to pop up and go, oh, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. You say so. I say so. I am taking my power back. Fuck off. See where I'm going with that? And you do it in the mirror every morning. So that's one way. You give yourself permission to take your power back, because a lot of us don't have permission. When we come out of those abusive relationships, we don't have permission to take our power back. We're terrified of speaking our mind. We're terrified of speaking up. We're terrified of allowing our voice to flow. So yeah, that is one way to deal with the hopelessness. And I hope that answered the question. And yes, all of us going through this crazy chaos at this time are doing one of two reactions. We're either, freaking out, or we're oddly calm. And it's because of the abuse. We've lived with it for, 17, 18, 30 years, whatever. So yeah. So there's that. Okay, how do you deal with alienation from a bio parent who blames the step parent for causing it? Okay, hold on. Let me process that. How do you deal with alienation from a bio parent who blames the step parent for causing it? Well, so I'm assuming that what you're saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that what you're saying is that the bio parent has alienated from the kids, but then says, well, my wife or my husband demanded that I do it and I had to do it. Coward. Total coward. If they're unwilling to stand up for their own children, okay, and they're willing to give in to an abuser who's telling them, don't have anything with your own kid, don't have anything to do with your own kid, don't have anything, I don't like your own kid, you shouldn't have anything to do with, they're cowards. They're absolutely cowards. Absolutely cowards. How do you deal with it? I'm sorry, but it's basically you step the hell away and you let them stew in their own petard, because I love that phrase, because they have chosen. They've made a choice. They have chosen to side with an abuser, with a narcissist, with, somebody who's telling them not to have anything to do with their own child. So you just step away and you go, okay, dude, your choice. Good luck with that, and then like years later, when the step parent leaves them or whatever, then they're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have listened to her. Okay, well, you've shown me who you are. Have fun with that. Bye. You can't convince them. If you went to that bio parent and said, dad or mom, please don't throw me away for the sake of this stepmother or stepfather, they'll be more interested in pleasing the new abuser, the abuser in their life, than they will be in continuing a relationship with their own children. And especially if the step parent is pushing that person to give up their kids and is pushing their own child. You need to take care of my child. You need to be the step parent to my child, that kind of thing. Either they've got cojones or they don't. And if they don't have cojones, you back the fuck up and you just go, okay, dude, or dudette, we're done. Have fun with that. Hope they take care of you in your old age, because I'm sure as fuck not going to. And it's not you, it's them. They've clearly have issues that they have not dealt with, probably having to do with their family of, say it with me, origin. So yeah, if they're unwilling to stand up for their own child and are basically allowing the step parent to bully them into not having contact or, being around their own child, they're a coward. They're an absolute coward, and they've got major issues they have not dealt with from their own family of origin, and they are giving into, like a flying monkey, to an abuser. So there that is. So it's not your job to fix them. It's not. And it's also not your job to try to have a relationship with them. It's not. They're the adult, supposedly. They're the parent, supposedly. And they should be the one that repairs the relationship with the child and makes sure that the relationship with the child is a good one. It's not up to the child to repair it, especially if the parent is the one who's done the alienating. Yeah. Okay. Cowards. They're cowards. And they've got issues beyond your means to repair. If they're not willing to work on their family of origin, they're never going to get better. They're always going to be kowtowing to an abuser. They're always going to be allowing somebody else to tell them what to think, where to go, who to have a relationship, what hobbies to have, what food to eat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not your problem. It's not your problem, not your problem. So a good book for stepping back and drawing boundaries is The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. That's a great book on boundaries. It's a great book on codependency. Another good one is Codependent No More and Beyond Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie. Both of those are really good. If you're looking for the book list that I have, they're over on my Facebook page under Notes, I believe is where it is. A whole bunch of really good books there. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. Okay, my mom told me she was molested by my father when she was 16 and then continued to invite him to our home for holidays. I'm 30 now and he's dead, but I still feel sick about this. What should I do? Oh, get with a good therapist. Get with a good, she overshared. You didn't need to know that. Again, you were 16. You were 16. Yeah. You didn't need to know this, not until you're like an adult, and well on your way. So again, this is enmeshment. This is oversharing about stuff. This is, I'm so sorry. Not your problem. It was not your problem. It is not your problem. I would get with a really good therapist to work through your feelings on this, because I'm sure, and here's the other thing too. Is your mom disordered? If your mom is disordered, do we know she's telling the truth? Because honestly, with NPD and malignant BPD, if their lips are moving, they're more than likely lying. So you're going to have to sort through how much of this is true, how much of this is not true. Why in the world did she decide to tell you this when you were 16? And if she was raped by him, molested by him, by her father. I thought it was by my father. I'm so sorry. Hang on a second. Let me reread that. My mom told me she was molested by her father when I was 16 and then continued to invite him to our home for holidays. Okay, I'm 30 now and he's dead, but I feel sick about this. What should I do? So, okay. Yeah, I don't understand why she continued to invite him to your home for the holidays. Again, is she disordered? Is she telling the truth? Why did she tell you when you were 16? Was she trying to warn you? Was she trying to make sure you were safe? I don't know. I don't know what was going on in her head. So so what I would do is I would get a therapist. I would get a therapist and I would work it through. If your mom is still alive and if she is not disordered, you could invite her to therapy with you to clarify. It's like, why did you tell me this? Why did you continue to invite him? You know, that kind of thing. If she is disordered and she is lying, don't have anything to do with her, you know? So yeah, she was molested by her father when I was 16 and then continued to invite him to our homes yeah, that is weird. So I'm wondering if she like told you in order to warn you to see if you were being molested by him. He's dead now, but I feel sick about this. What should I do? I would go to a therapist. I would. I would go to a therapist, and if she is not disordered and you feel safe, like she's not going to use anything against you, I would ask her to come to therapy with you. It's like, Mom, WTF? Why the fuck did you tell me this? Why did you continue to invite him to the home? You know, that kind of thing. So that's what I would do. Sorry, I didn't understand it at first. I thought it was your dad, but it was her dad. Okay. All right. All right. I was abused by my stepfather and mother. She would protect him. Now I'm an adult and don't want to have anything to do with them, but mother won't leave me alone. I feel I can't heal. I'm the scapegoat. What should I do? Okay, so here's what you do. You do a pro and a con list. What are the pros of staying in relationship with them or her? What are the cons of staying in the relationship with her? And then you look, okay, you write them on 2 different pieces of paper 2 different times. So, because what we tend to do is we already know the answer. You already know the answer. You probably just don't like it. So what we tend to do is we skew the answers. So if we do the pro and the con list on the same page, we're checking to see if they're equal, you know, or that the one that we want to have be real has more in it than the other one. So what you want to do is you want to do a pro list on one page on one day, set it aside. A few days later, get another piece of paper, and don't look at the paper once you do it. A few days later, do a con list. And then when you're done writing it, pull the 2 of them together and see which one is longer. And whichever one is longer, there's your answer. You already know the answer. You probably just don't like it. So yeah, that's what I would do, is I would do it a pro and a con list. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, why don't we throw up a few more questions? I'll go ahead and take them. We've got about 4 minutes. I should be able to answer at least 2 or 3 more. So that would be good. Okay. How do you deal with ostracism and people ganging up on you? There is next to nothing online about it, but the ongoing effects, what to do about it. Okay, so this is flying monkeys. So what you want to do is you want to look up any and all articles on flying monkeys. So people ganging up on you are flying monkeys. They're kowtowing to a major narcissist. Flying monkeys are one of 2 varieties. They are either minor narcissists, and they're just sycophants to the major narcissist, or they're just fucking ignorant and they don't understand how abuse and the abuse cycle works. And they take everybody at face value because they can't imagine anybody acting like an asshat like most abusers do. So look up every single blog, video, etc. on flying monkeys. That's what you want to do, because that's what that is. So flying monkeys kowtow to the abuser. The abuser says, ostracize this person. They smear, they do the smear campaign, they do all of this. It's very harmful, it's very hurtful. But once you figure out that they are either minor narcissists themselves or they're just fucking ignorant, you educate them. If they still continue to do it, you cut them off and you have nothing to do with them. The lasting effects on it is that it harms the target of abuse. It absolutely does. But once you find your self-esteem and your boundaries and you cut these bozos out of your life, you cut out all the toxic people, it basically goes away. It only can survive the whole flying monkey thing if you keep buying into it, if you keep trying to defend yourself against it. Unfortunately, in this particular thing, you have to rise above, cut them off, have nothing more to do with them. Look, people who know you, people who are your true tribe, know who you are. And if they're willing to believe the worst about you, fuck them. Be done. Be done. They're not your tribe. People who are willing to believe the worst about you are not your tribe. So Get rid of them. So yeah, so look up anything on flying monkeys. That's going to be good. How do we reparent ourselves if we do not know what a sane or a good parent is? How do we learn? So what you do, and this is kind of what I did, is you start looking for role models in movies and television. Seriously, swear to God. So you start looking for role models of, gee, I would love to have a mom treat me like this. Gee, I would love to have a dad treat me like this. And you start kind of going, oh, okay, that's what good parenting is. That's what, and I know it sounds weird, but it's like we didn't have role models for what a good parent looks like. So we have to kind of figure out, well, how would I like to be treated? What have I seen in movies and television that I really liked? Oh, wow, this one dad in this movie really listened to his kid. This one mom in this movie really validated the child and asked about the emotions, that kind of thing. So that's one way to do it. Also, you start thinking about and you start writing down, how do you want to be treated? How do you want to reparent yourself? What feels good to you? What is the polar opposite of what your abusive parents did? So, for example, if they were screamers, my reparenting will never involve screaming at myself. My reparenting will never involve calling me names. My reparenting will, and you start filling out, what is it that you want? What do you want? It is okay for you to ask those questions. What do I need to reparent myself? What emotions do I need? What feeling do I need? What level of respect do I need? Oh, wow, I need respect. Oh, what does that look like? Ooh, that's respect. Okay, so when people listen to each other, that's respect. When people are kind to each other, that's respect. So do you see where I'm going? So you start teaching yourself by looking at examples of things that you would like. How would you like to be spoken to? With love, with kindness, with gentle, with patience. And guarantee our abusers were neither loving nor kind nor gentle nor patient. That's the hallmark of a lot of abusers is they're constantly, when I say how jump, you need to ask how high kind of thing. And that's what they do. They have no patience. And so we don't learn patience. We don't know how to be patient with ourselves. We don't know how to be patient with other people. And we're our own worst enemies. So it's really important. All of the things that your parents did, write it down. What did they do? What did you not like? How did you not like being parented? Write all that down and then put the polar opposite. And the polar opposite is what you want. Does that make sense? So it takes that. I would also get with a good therapist. I really would. Start working on the self-esteem workbook. Super important. Boundaries, the Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker. So, and then start watching movies, that have good parenting in them kind of thing. So yeah, so there's that. Okay. I think this one is going to be our last one. I'm the scapegoat in my family. My dad won't stand up for me, even against his older half siblings. Could it be because of guilt he may have because he divorced their mom but is still married to mine? Okay, my dad won't stand up for me, even against my older half siblings. Could it be because of guilt he may have because he divorced their mom, but is still married to mine? Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know for sure, but you're the scapegoat in the family. So that says to me that there is dysfunction there, hugely. Healthy, normal families do not have roles. Let me just say that again. Healthy, normal families, normal and bunny ears, do not have roles. The kids are just the kids, okay? They're who they are. We don't try to pigeonhole them into a cubicle and this is who they are. They're the scapegoat. They're the golden child. They're the ignored middle child. They're the second mom, second dad, second husband, second wife. Healthy families don't do that. So because you're the scapegoat in the family, that says to me there's a lot of dysfunction going on. The fact that your father will not stand up for you, that says there's dysfunction going on. It may be because of guilt, but really the deal is he is not standing up for you and he needs to, and that's not okay. So get with a good therapist if you can, and, work on your boundaries, work on self-esteem, work on, saying no. It's like if and when the older siblings are picking on you, you say no and you walk away. You don't have to put up with it. You don't. So yeah. Absolutely. Okay, gonna call it quits. My voice is starting to go. So you guys have a great weekend. I do not know what the topic is next week. I'm gonna figure that out. I just wanted to remind everybody I am canceling England, unfortunately, because of the stupid COVID thing. Please stay safe. Please stay inside. Please wear your masks. Please wash your hands. This is not so much for your protection as it is for the people who have got, underlying health conditions such as the elderly. So in Tempe, there was a nursing home that is now exploding because the nursing home refused to provide masks or gloves and allowed people in and out. So this is to protect the elderly. This is to protect people with asthma, high blood pressure, etc. Please stay safe. Please, 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 please stay safe. Take good care of yourselves. If you hear anything that sounds like domestic violence, do not be afraid to call the police, because women and men are dying across the country from domestic violence right now because they're stuck at home with their abuser. So please do call the police. All right, kids, be good, be careful, be safe, and I will talk to you probably middle of this week because I know there were questions I didn't get to, so I will answer those questions and then I'll figure out what the heck next week's thing is going to be on. So, all right, have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.